Systematic, a process. This formalized approach to acquiring knowledge is what sets scientific research apart from other ways of knowing, from other ways of hunting and gathering information, from other search protocols. It is certainly true that the scientific method is natural. It evolved, like all of our other traits, in nature as the human animal, blessed with an abnormally large neocortex, went about adapting to its environment, forming mental models of the world around it. All children come into the world with curiosity and the impetus towards trial and error. Just watch babies try to put everything in their mouth to see. All of us mix inductive and deductive reasoning patterns as we navigate our days and nights, forming often half-baked hypotheses from our observations and our guesses and our successes, and very often our mistakes and failures. We judge outcomes and we form prejudices. We look for confirmations of our typologies, of our ability to group things into perceived patterns, and we often end up with stereotypes. When we go wrong, as history has so unforgivingly shown us, it is usually because we fell into the naive assumption trap, which Samuel Jackson famously cautioned us against in the movie Pulp Fiction, when he warned John Travolta, never make an assumption. It makes an ass out of you and umption. The assumptions of science, as we pointed out in our lecture on science as a way of thinking, are different from prejudices because as scientists, we act just at, what happened?
You just flew past it.
You're going a little, you're hitting the end of it, so.
It started speeding up? What?
No.
No, I wasn't at the end of it. I was at the,
I'm sorry.
I think you thought I was further down than I was.
It's okay, we're training ourselves.
Okay,
yeah.
We're here, right?
Yeah, out in our lecture on, but I think there was also a typo. Is it no?
Probably.
Go. The assumptions of science, as we pointed out in our lecture on science as a way of thinking, are different from prejudices because as scientists, we act not just as prejudges, but as post-judges, continually reserving judgment until yet another experiment is performed. And this is because we follow research methods. As Dr. Dorsey pointed out in the introductory paragraph, research is a powerful tool for science. Think about that. A tool. When you do science, you use a tool. And tools, as we all know, are created for specific tasks. When you use a tool for the right task and you use it correctly, you make progress. If you use the wrong tool or use it in the wrong way, you can end up stuck or with a disaster on your hands. Think of trying to use a hammer to open a can of peaches. The results usually aren't pretty. It is said that to someone with a hammer, everything looks like a nail, and we have to admit the limitations of all tools, including those we use in scientific research. But the tool metaphor is important because actually research methods are tools, plural, a whole collection of or suite of tools, like a surgeon's tray, which, when properly employed, can perform fine and delicate brain surgeries, or can butcher a victim, like you see in those late-night horror movies. Healthy skepticism, which is part and parcel of the scientific way of thinking, can help us ensure we don't blunder into dogma. At the same time, too much skepticism can lead otherwise rational people to continuously miss the trends in the data and blind them to the big picture, such as we see in climate change deniers. Acquiring knowledge through research is a subtle art. There isn't really a formula, and yet it is formal. It is systematic. It is a process, and one you can learn and get good at. Graziano and Rollin, in our reading, Research Methods, A Process of Inquiry, corroborate this, saying that scientific research is similar to everyday thought, but it is more formalized, more deliberate, and therefore more accurate and reliable. It is the reliability that really sets it apart. Remember from our first lecture that there can be no right or wrong in science, just stronger or weaker. Hypotheses that always need to be revised and retested as new observations are made and new data comes in. Because our framing of reality may change once we undergo another paradigm shift. I read that wrong. And
Take it from the beginning of that sentence.
the whole, okay.